Aeons stand as the forgotten gods of Gnostic mythology, mysterious divine beings who defy the limits of orthodox belief. How could such supreme entities become shrouded in cosmic secrecy? What truths about existence and the cosmos do their stories conceal? Journey with us into forgotten realms where reality and the divine collide, unveiling secrets that challenge everything you think you know. Before the birth of the Aeons and the weaving of complex Gnostic cosmologies, the cosmos was perceived as a vast expanse of undivided light and ineffable divine fullness known as the Pleroma. This primordial state existed beyond space and time, a perfect totality where spiritual plenitude reigned unchallenged and without division. In this eternal fullness, no shadow, no void marred the divine unity. The Pleroma is the dwelling place of the true God-Not, a singular figure as in many traditions, but an infinite, ineffable source of all being and light that manifests through a series of divine emanations. These emanations, the Aeons, embody facets of the divine mind, aspects of eternal truth, and particular attributes of the ineffable Godhead itself. Within this sacred harmony, the Aeons exist not as separate gods, but as interconnected aspects of one infinite reality, falling neither into individuality nor complete anonymity. They serve as the essential structures that hold the divine cosmos together, representing qualities such as grace, truth, wisdom, and understanding. The Pleroma, this realm of perfect fullness, is the foundation of all existence in Gnostic theology. It exists in stark contrast to the material world, which is seen as flawed, incomplete, and often even hostile to spiritual truth. Ancient Gnostic texts, many discovered in the modern age through rare manuscripts, speak of the Aeons as divine beings who radiate from the central source. Originating with the primordial Father and Mother Logos, these are not gods to be worshipped in the traditional sense, but archetypal energies that define the structure of spiritual reality. This system was both radical and revolutionary. It challenged mainstream religious views by positing a cosmos layered with mystery and hidden knowledge, where the true divine realm was accessible only through revelation and inner awakening. At the same time, prophecy and myth foretold disruptions within this divine order. Whispers of a cataclysm that would sever the pure unity of the Pleroma suggested an upheaval of the cosmic hierarchy. It was said that from the depths of the Pleroma itself, a flawed emanation would break the unblemished chain, a being born not from the unity of light, but from ignorance or error. This being would cast a shadow across the realms and give rise to the material world, a creation separate from the perfect fullness above. Early Gnostic teachers proposed that understanding the Aeons was to gain insight into this cosmic fracture, to discern the boundary between spirit and matter, knowledge and ignorance. The stakes could not be higher. This was a battle, not only for the domination of heaven, but a struggle for the soul's very liberation from deception. How could humanity know which truths were mere illusions, spun from the flawed realm below? What was the true nature of the Aeons, and how did their light get obscured by darkness? Would the divine fullness ever be restored, or was existence forever scarred by this ancient fracture? These questions haunted the earliest Gnostic schools and have echoed through history, emerging in secretive texts, mysterious sects, and lost scriptures. As the stage was set and these celestial players took form, the story of the Aeons invites us to peer beyond the surface of orthodox faith, to question the source of creation itself. This tale is not simply about gods or myths. It is a journey deep into the nature of reality, knowledge, and spiritual awakening. In the following parts, we will unravel the origins of the Aeons, witness their awakening, explore their manifestations, confront the catastrophic fall that altered the cosmos, and finally, trace their enduring legacy in our world today. But first, imagine yourself at the very edge of cosmic awareness, where light and shadow intertwine, and the forgotten gods watch silently from their hidden realms. What secrets might you uncover? What truths might your soul demand? Join us on this profound exploration, and do not forget to subscribe so you never miss a revelation. What do you think is the most mysterious aspect of divine eons? Drop your thoughts below as we step together beyond the veil. The awakening of the eons marks a cosmic turning point and explosion of divine energy that shattered the undisturbed harmony of the Pleroma and set the pathway for chaos and creation. This inciting moment is veiled in mystery, yet lies at the heart of Gnostic lore. It begins with the emergence of an entity known by many names, but often called Sophia, meaning wisdom. Sophia's story is laden with tragic beauty. She is an eon herself, born from the divine fullness in the Pleroma, embodying immense wisdom and divine intuition. However, her yearning to grasp the unknowable depths of the Father spark a profound cosmic disruption. Unlike the other eons, who remained in harmonious alignment with the fullness, Sophia's desire to conceive without the consent of the divine source culminated in an act of separation. She attempted to create independently, but this act birthed a flawed reflexiona shadow entity known as the Demiurge, the ignorant creator god who falsely claimed dominion over the material world. This Demiurge is depicted not as evil in the traditional sense, but as blind, arrogant, and trapped in ignorance of the true spiritual cosmos. His creation, the physical universe, is described as a dim and imperfect reflection of the Pleroma. Within this awakening, the eons experienced a rupture. Their perfect unity was compromised as the Demiurge fashioned the material realm, imprisoning spiritual sparks of divine origin within mortal flesh. This moment is the turning point between boundless light and shackled darkness. The story of Sophia's fall and the birth of the Demiurge illustrates the Gnostic dualistic struggle, light versus darkness, spirit versus matter, knowledge versus ignorance. But this was not a tale of simple antagonists. The eons remained in the Pleroma, mourning and watching as their light was stolen away, yet also sending secret messages and spiritual seeds into humanity. Through these sparks of divine essence trapped within, the genuine path to salvation and awakening was unknowably encoded. How would these divine essences be liberated? How much of the original fullness remained unreachable? This question haunted early Gnostic communities and became the core of their spiritual practices. Gnostic texts such as the Apocryphon of John and the Nag Hammadi codices reveal allegorical and symbolic accounts of this cosmic drama. They describe how the eons, in their celestial realms, send emanations of grace to the fallen sparks within humanity, offering hints of redemption and pathways back to the Pleroma. The awakening of the eons is thus not merely myth, but a metaphor for human potentialization of divine wisdom. However, the domain of the Demiurge intervenes aggressively, enforcing ignorance through false teachings, deception, and control. This complex divine drama reveals timeless questions about authority, truth, and identity. How do we discern genuine spiritual knowledge from illusion? What does it mean to be truly awakened? The Gnostic awakening is at once cosmic and intensely personal, a call to look deep within, to find the fragments of divine light trapped in human suffering. This inciting event stands as a cosmic tragedy that reshaped existence and seeded the mysteries that would captivate mystics, philosophers, and heretics throughout history. As the awakening spread through the layers of cosmic realms, the eons themselves took on new roles: guardians of secret knowledge, bearers of divine attributes, and guides to the soul's ascent. But the material prison forged by the Demiurge held its grip, setting the stage for the profound manifestations of these eons in spiritual myth and legend. What forms would they take? How would their power be expressed in the multitudes of Gnostic texts and teachings? In the next chapter, we delve into the rich tapestry of eonic manifestations and their profound symbolism revealed through sacred writings and visionary experiences. Keep exploring to uncover the true faces of these forgotten gods. The manifestations of the eons represent the heart of Gnostic cosmology, a kaleidoscope of divine attributes poured into named entities that collectively describe the sacred fullness of the Pleroma. Each Aeon carries a profound symbolic meaning, embodying dynamic forces that sustain the spiritual universe and provide a map for the soul's journey toward enlightenment. Central among them is Barbelo, often considered the first emanation and the mother-father principle of the Aeonic system. Barbelo represents the divine forethought or the primal womb of all creation, an ineffable feminine spiritual entity that generates successive eons through her will and divine power. She embodies grace, truth, and eternal wisdom, and is frequently depicted as the Maiden of Light, a perfect mirror reflecting the unknowable God. Following Barbelo, the Aeons emerge in divine pairs, each complementing the other names like Bythus and Ainoia, thought and depth, or Nous and Aletheia, mind and truth. These sacred couples symbolize the harmonic balance of cosmic principles, representing not just abstract qualities, but living realities within the spiritual realms. The conceptual pairings often reflect the Gnostic understanding that creation itself is a divine dialogue, the interplay of opposites within the unity of the ultimate Godhead. The sensory richness of these manifestations crystallizes in the imagery and allegorical descriptions found in various Gnostic texts, which use metaphors of light, colors, and ethereal music to convey the ineffable nature of these beings. Another critical Aeon in this divine pantheon is Sophia, whose tragic narrative unfolds through her fall and redemption, bearing the weight of cosmic error and the hope for restoration. Through her story, the mythology reveals the profound tension between freedom and limitation, pride and humility, ignorance and enlightenment. Sophia's fall into the material realm gave rise to the Demiurge and the imperfect cosmos, but her wisdom also remains the beacon calling souls to repentance and return. The Aeons also functioned as intermediaries in Gnostic soteriology, process by which souls escape material bondage and return to divine plenitude. Rituals and secret teachings often invoke these Aeons as guardians and guides for initiates navigating the celestial spheres. Each Aeon possesses a particular gate or sphere through which souls must pass, with their mysteries and symbolisms encoded in the heavenly hierarchy. These layers of interpretation offer an immersive spiritual experience, where the believer transcends earthly concerns and journeys back to primordial unity. Yet the Aeons are not distant or lifeless abstractions. Their manifestations are described with vivid oases like crystal streams, forms radiant as pure light, movements echoing eternal harmony. They are portrayed sometimes as multi-faced beings, shining with myriad colors, sometimes as unextended essences of divine thought, blurring the line between person and principle. Such descriptions draw the listener or reader into an ecstatic vision of the cosmos, where divinity flows endlessly and endlessly renews itself. However, this divine plenitude was always threatened by the presence of the Demiurge and Archons rulers who sought to keep humanity imprisoned. They distorted the true image of the Aeons, fostering religious dogmas and cosmologies that obscured the higher truth. This conflict between Aeonic light and Demiurgic darkness embodies the core struggle of Gnostic thought, the battle to rediscover lost divine knowledge, to pierce the veil of illusion woven by the false creator. As you contemplate these radiant manifestations and their symbolic power, consider how these archetypes resonate beyond ancient scripture. They represent eternal truths about identity, knowledge, and liberation. What does it mean for a divine attribute to be embodied as a living, conscious Aeon? How might these forgotten gods influence spiritual quests today? The story deepens next into Catastrophe's dark climax, where the divine order was disrupted, shattering paradise and forever altering cosmic destiny. Next, we descend into that darkest hour. The climax of the Aeon saga is nothing short of an existential catastrophe, shattering of cosmic harmony that brought darkness into the light and rent the boundaries of spiritual reality. This pivotal moment is encoded in Gnostic myth as the fall of Sophia, her despair, and ultimate loss of control over her self-generated offspring, the Demiurge. Born ignorant and flawed, the Demiurge arrogantly declared himself the sole creator and ruler, sought to impose structure on formless chaos, but did so in fundamental error. His creation was a universe built upon ignorance, a pale shadow of the Pleroma's brilliance, where souls became trapped in dense material prisons. The destruction here is not of physical worlds as imagined in some apocalyptic tales, but the collapse of divine unity and the birth of cosmic deception. The perfect light fracturing introduced duality good versus evil, spirit versus matter, and fractured the inner cohesiveness of the Aeons themselves. Many of the Aeons, who had once existed in serene pairs representing balance and harmony, felt the rupture keenly and withdrew into secret realms or veiled their presence in shadow. The true depth of this divine rupture defies ordinary description. It is a cosmic wound, ineffable and agonizing. The suffering extends beyond the realms of gods and spirits. Humanity, according to Gnostic belief, became the battlefield and microcosm of this cosmic war. Human souls, sparks of the divine Pleroma, trapped within material vessels, experienced existential entrapment. The Demiurge and his Archon's cosmic jailers exerted control, enforcing false knowledge and binding souls to ignorance and suffering. This reign was cruel, and the material cosmos was a labyrinth from which many never escaped. The Gnostic texts convey this dark climax with haunting imagery. The Aeons weeping in silence, the unbroken light dimming, and spirits ensnared by chains of illusion. The story passed through secret teachings and coded scriptures, warned of this dystopia, as a spiritual prison masquerading as reality. The Aeons, who once vibrated with unassailable light, now faced a world fractured by the Demiurge's ignorance, striving to conceal its imperfect creation. This was the darkest moment not only in the Aeons saga, but in the spiritual history of existence itself, moment the divine fullness became veiled and distorted by ignorance. Yet, paradoxically, this breaking also seeded the possibility for awakening. From the shattered cosmos emerged the promise that souls could seek gnosis, hidden knowledge that would pierce illusion and restore the divine spark within. This catastrophic fall set in motion a divine rescue mission age-old and timeless, carried out through secret teachings, initiatory rites, and coded wisdom transmitted through mystics and heretics. The battle lines between the Ionic light and Archonic darkness were drawn eternally in the soul's pilgrimage. But what came after? How did these spiritual forces respond once this darkest night fell? Who punished the destroyer, and what fate befell the Aeons after such loss? The next part reveals the immediate aftermath, where silence and judgment reshaped the cosmic order. Prepare yourself to witness the world after the fall, the silence after the storm, and the unfolding consequences that forever bear the scars of that primal disaster. In the aftermath of the catastrophic rupture, the cosmos entered a period of eerie stillness and transformation. The Pleroma, though disturbed, was not destroyed. The Aeons endured, though many were veiled or dormant. The Demiurge's material creation persisted with relentless force, a flawed cosmos governed by laws designed to keep souls bound in ignorance. Yet the balance of power shifted with subtlety. Divine punishment and cosmic justice took shape as a complex dance of concealment and revelation. The Aeons, though wounded by Sophia's fall and the actions of the Demiurge, began a process of reclaiming their influence. Certain texts describe how emanations of grace and truth descended into the material world in veiled forms, inspiring prophets, makers of mystical knowledge, and the disciples of Gnosis. These Aeons now functioned as secret messengers, guiding lost souls silently through moments of awakening, nudging humanity toward remembrance of the divine fullness once known but forgotten. Their power was no longer direct or overt. Instead, it was a hidden whisper beneath the apparent tyranny of the material realm. Simultaneously, the Demiurge and his archons tightened their grip on humanity through false religions, laws, and dogmas that obscured the path to true knowledge. The material world's rulers enforced ignorance to maintain their dominion, erecting barriers of fear and control. This spiritual captivity framed the mortal condition as a trial or test, where the spark of the divine human soul struggled against physical and psychic bondage. Humanity hovered in a liminal space, potential divinity caught within the world of shadows. The immediate consequences for human history following the Aeons' fall are hard to separate from myth and metaphor, but Gnostic thought suggests that true spiritual seekers inherited the mission of restoring light. This atoned destiny binds human consciousness to the ancient divine narrative via journey of redemption and ultimate reunion. Many Gnostic sects developed secret initiation rituals designed to awaken the soul's knowledge of its aeonic origin and the hidden divine spark within. The physical world, therefore, becomes not only a prison, but a school for spiritual achievement. Meanwhile, the Aeons themselves changed in subtle ways. Some became guardians of specific cosmic functions, curators of particular aspects of knowledge, or protectors of divine mysteries lost to common awareness. They evolved from radiant beings into enigmatic figures with cryptic symbolism scattered through sacred texts. Their stories continued in whispers, veiled in allegory, ready to be discovered by those hungry enough to seek the forbidden knowledge. What was the fate of Sophia herself? Some texts intimate her redemption and reintegration into the Pleroma, symbolizing hope and forgiveness. Others emphasize her ongoing role as the divine feminine embodying wisdom, struggling to redeem the cosmos from its dark shadow. The legacy of the Aeons, therefore, is one of both loss and hopeful promise. This period leaves us at a crossroads, between despair and salvation, ignorance and enlightenment. The aftermath challenges humanity to discern ancient truths beneath religious orthodoxies and invites seekers towards an esoteric awakening. But the Aeon's story does not end here. How do these forgotten gods influence us today? Why do their mysteries continue to captivate spiritual minds and philosophers? What is the subtle imprint of Aeonic knowledge on modern consciousness? Join us in the final chapter as we uncover the enduring legacy of the Aeons, exploring their silent vigilance, cryptic messages, and the profound psychological and spiritual meanings they hold for our world. Don't forget to subscribe, for you will not want to miss how these ancient forces still whisper to the soul. How do you think forgotten gods can still shape our reality? Share your thoughts below. The legacy of the Aeons extends far beyond ancient texts and secretive Gnostic sects. It permeates aspects of modern spirituality, philosophy, and the collective unconscious. Today, the forgotten gods of Gnostic mythology symbolize the eternal search for hidden knowledge and the struggle to transcend material limitations. Their story is a profound allegory for awakening to our true selves and reclaiming the divine spark trapped within the physical world. In modern esoteric traditions, Aeons are often interpreted as archetypes of consciousness, stages of spiritual evolution, or cosmic principles that guide inner transformation. Their complex dualicious light and shadow, wisdom and error, fullness and void reflect the very tensions that shape human experience. Psychologically, they represent the fragmented self yearning to rediscover unity and wholeness amid the contradictions of life. The Aeons challenge us to question the constructed realities around us, structures of belief, identity, and perception that may imprison the soul as surely as the Demiurge's realm once did. Philosophically, the Aeonic mythos invites reflection on the nature of divinity itself. Unlike monotheistic absolutism or simple polytheism, Gnostic Aeons represent a fluid, dynamic pantheon of emanations that resist static definitions. This plurality of divine aspects indicates a cosmology where reality is layered and multifaceted, where the sacred hides in paradox and mystery. Such perspectives can profoundly influence contemporary dialogues about spirituality, science, and the limits of human knowledge. Furthermore, the Gnostic emphasis on gnosis knowledge through direct experience resonates deeply with modern seekers who seek personal revelation beyond dogma. The Aeons embody the path to that gnosis, illuminating hidden corridors of consciousness and sparking insights into the cosmos's fundamental nature. Their stories remind us that knowledge is not merely intellectual, but an awakening of the soul's perception to its true origin and destiny. The mystery of the Aeons also persists as a cautionary tale. It warns against pride, ignorance, and the illusion of control. Sophia's tragic fall and the Demiurge's blind authority echo contemporary issues of power, deception, and spiritual blindness. Their narratives encourage discernment, humility, and the pursuit of authentic wisdom over superficial appearances. This message continues to inspire those who question the mainstream, those who dare to seek beyond the familiar boundaries imposed by society and orthodoxy. In art, literature, and ritual practice, the Aeons have subtly influenced a wide array of cultural expressions, from mystical poetry to modern interpretations of angelology and spirit guides. Their presence lingers in the collective imagination as symbols of the infinite and lost divine. As we conclude our deep dive into the Aeons, consider this. In a world overwhelmed by confusion and fragmentation, might the forgotten gods of Gnostic mythology still call to use not as distant deities, but as beacons illuminating the path toward spiritual wholeness? Can ancient mysteries awaken dormant parts of our being? The story of the Aeons is both a cosmic drama and an intimate invitation to rediscover the divine plenitude hidden within our own souls. Thank you for journeying with us through the hidden realms of Gnostic myth. The Aeons beckon you to look beyond the veil. Are you ready to answer their call?